Welcome to Ultimate Energy. Now, what is Ultimate Energy? Really what it is this started out as a personal project that I wanted to figure out how to gain the most amount of energy throughout my day. Now, don't get me wrong, I love energy drinks just like the next guy, but I'm telling you, those aren't the answers. Now, what I found after years of research is there are some seriously cool tricks out there to get energy and keep it all day long, and you would be amazed at what you can get done. Now, we're going to cover the two biggest aspects of having energy, especially all day long. That is the physical aspect of having all day energy, figuring out the physical things you need to do to fuel your body, to get your body in a state where it can jam all throughout the day and maintain that really high level of energy. Then we're also going to cover the mental aspects of having all day energy. And yes, there are some. The biggest thing is you want to keep from psyching yourself out and making yourself more tired than you really are. You'd be amazed at what you can get accomplished once you learn just a few tricks and really to learn to get around some of the pitfalls of some of the mental things that you really talk yourself out of the energy you already have. So let's get started. We're going to get started with the physical aspects of having all day energy. Now, understand that I call these the three pillars. There's only three things you really have to remember or understand about physical aspects of energy to maintain that all-day energy boost that you're looking for in commercial products that are out there right now. They are, number one, hydration. Number two, understanding your metabolism. And number three, learning to understand sleep and how it really affects your all-day energy. So those are the three main things. We're going to cover each one in detail. The first aspect of physical energy, understanding the physical needs of your body to gain all-day energy, is hydration. I cannot stress to you enough how important hydration is. Now, having said that, it seems simple, but it's really a little bit more complex than you can imagine. We actually go through a normal day probably a little bit dehydrated. Now, understanding that if you can maintain a high level of hydration throughout the day, not just peaks and valleys, your energy level will skyrocket. And that's the biggest, easiest trick I tell people about trying to gain all-day energy is just make sure you're hydrated. Well, that actually contradicts a lot of the things that you see, especially commercial products out there, and we will get into those, and I'll talk to you about how energy drinks tend to do the actual opposite, and you start to get dehydrated. Even though you're pumping yourself full of caffeine and B vitamins and things, your body still feels like garbage because it doesn't have the water it needs to operate. Now, understanding the intricacies of hydration is really as simple as understanding you have to maintain your hydration level throughout the day, not just peaks and valleys. The best and easiest way to do that is to start your day off right. The easiest thing to do is drink a 10 to 20 ounce, I know that sounds like a lot, glass of water at the very beginning of the day. So, of course, does it matter whether you do it right as soon as you get up or as you eat breakfast? No, it doesn't. But you need to understand that you need to start your day by rehydrating. Understand that when you've slept, whether it's 6 to 8 hours that you've been sleeping, or even maybe a little bit longer for some of you other folks, understand that you haven't been drinking water that whole time, but your body has still been losing that water. It's digesting the food that's still left in your stomach. It's sweating underneath the covers, all right? It's still using water. Well, you need to replace that water, and it's been a solid 8 to 9 hours that you haven't had any water. The best way to do it, just like I said, drink a real tall glass of water at the very beginning of the day. Now, also understand that hydration is also a little bit tricky when it comes to your ability to maintain your level of hydration. It seems simple by just drinking one glass of water in the beginning of the day and then you should be good. That's not the way it works. Once you hydrate, your body's hydration starts slowly going down until you drink water again. So you start to get these peaks and valleys, and your energy levels can do the same thing. They'll start following these peaks and valleys as you're hydrated, dehydrated, hydrated, dehydrated. Well, the best thing to do is maintain your hydration by drinking water at regular intervals throughout the day. How do you do that without, that sounds complicated, you're like, I don't have time for that. It actually is really easy. You need to learn to start living with a water bottle around you. Now, if you watch the super healthy people you envy at the office, if you watch, a lot of times they're drinking water, and they're drinking water all the time. That is no secret, but it is a cool trick, because people that are considered, hey, I'm really healthy, I'm very active, I have a real high metabolism, they know this, and that's why they're drinking water all day. So understand that hydration is not something you could just do the first thing in the morning. You got to do it all day long. Second of all, you need to understand that hydrating yourself and getting yourself in peak physical condition, hydration-wise, actually takes several days. Marathon runners will work on their hydration for up to about 3 days prior to the race, just to make sure they're at the peak level of hydration to get the most out of the physical aspects of their body. Now, last but not least, the age-old question, does coffee dehydrate you? Well, the answer is actually no. Coffee does not dehydrate you. Caffeine is what dehydrates you. And the catch is, with the coffee conundrum, is there's not enough caffeine to counter in coffee, in a cup of coffee, to actually counteract the water that's in coffee. So does it hydrate you? Not really. Does it dehydrate you? No, not really. It's somewhere actually in between. So when you're drinking coffee, don't worry, it's not dehydrating you, but it's just not really helping, and it's not the best way to hydrate, certainly. So it's really kind of neutral. So don't worry about caffeinated products necessarily dehydrating you, but understand that they're pretty much neutral in the book of hydration. You're not going to get any more hydrated by jamming down sodas or coffee or things like that. But don't worry, they're not going to dehydrate you. And it actually gets even better if you're actually pretty used to drinking coffee. Then it actually dehydrates you even less. So then it actually becomes a little bit positive, and you can actually get a little bit hydrated. But not to go down that rabbit hole, just to understand, hydration, by far, the #1 thing. And I'll talk about it throughout the rest of this video series, but understand that hydration is by far the most important thing you can do all day long to maintain that high level of energy.